Hello, I'm Scott Jackson, dressed as your retirement mountain guide here at Jackson Private Wealth Management, ironically in Flat Cocoa, Florida. Part 2 today of our 5-part series to help you to get up the mountain of life and, more importantly, back down safely. When it comes to any outdoor adventure, the right amount of the right kind of gear is really critical. Consider what can happen if you bring too much of the wrong kind of gear. Some buddies and I took a long hike along the Appalachian Trail near Fontana Dam in North Carolina a dozen or so years ago. Now, I hadn't backpacked since living in Ecuador back in the early 90s. I read somewhere that the rule of thumb for the amount of weight to carry was roughly about a third. So, third of body weight. I was at about 200 pounds at the time. So I figured an ideal pack weight for me would be right around 65 pounds. Now, one of my best buds, who had never been backpacking, to my knowledge, chose the trail for us. He picked a mere 13-miler with a few thousand feet of elevation gain, some 27 or so stream crossings, more like creeks up to our waist in places, and a few dozen switchbacks thrown in for good measure. Rocky terrain, the whole bit. So picture the scene. Me dropping a 65-pound pack at every freezing cold water crossing to put my sandals on. The water so cold that you literally felt like your feet might get frostbitten before you could stumble through the water to the other side, and a 65-pound pack sliding left, right, back, forth, up, down, all over my back as I hurried across the rivers, banging my feet against all of the stones at the bottom. I was almost relieved when the guys coming from the opposite direction told us that the trail that we were hiking was actually a training trail for Navy SEALs. That made sense to me. I wasn't just imagining it. I was being punished for my lackadaisical research effort. I had no idea what I was in for, and I was carrying about twice the amount of weight I should have been carrying, the now recommended 30 to 35 pounds. To top it off, I decided I was tired of my feet freezing on the crossings and didn't want to have to bang my feet anymore against the stones. And I was tired of taking my pack on and off every single crossing. So I decided to just cross in my new trail shoes. That's right, new trail shoes. Took my socks off. I'm not kidding. Hiking in new trail shoes with no socks, wet. I had blisters literally the size of grapes all over my toes and feet, with a few more days of adventure left. It got more exciting as the days went. The only thing that brought me any joy on that hike was seeing one of my other buddies carrying a 3-pound warehouse club size bag of M&Ms, martini glasses, a pair on his pack, and a smorgasbord full of tinned cans of beans, meats, and various other delicacies that you must have on the trail. Needless to say, no lightweight freeze-dried food for us. We ate like kings, at least the first night, so we could get rid of all of that extra weight and not have to carry it for the next few days, which of course meant not eating much the next few days. But of course we learned our lesson, and by the next time we went up, we were experts at packing light, very light. Matter of fact, we didn't even bother to bring waterproof gloves on one of our next adventures, since they do weigh quite a few more grams than their non-waterproof kin. The only trouble was the cold weather turned into a light dusting, turned into a blizzard. Snow to the tune of about 15 inches and 15 degrees by the next morning. We literally could not even see the Appalachian Trail. Total whiteout. I would have gladly paid a couple $100 to anybody along the trail who would have sold me a pair of waterproof gloves. So what does all of this have to do with the financial mountain of life? Well, quite a bit actually. We're constantly weighing our packs, what we're carrying, how much stuff do we need in life's journey. Now, some of us really do need outdoor gear, and others of us just think it looks cool, and most of us are a little bit of both, depending. So if you see yourself as an adventurer making your way up and down the mountain of life, you'll own more of what you need and less of what you don't need. Every dollar that you don't spend, that you invest today, can be worth $2 in 10, 12, 15 years or so. Could be worth $4 in 24 to 36 years, depending on the rate of return. Net rate of return of say 4 to 6% per year. That's how people turn every $100,000 invested today into blocks of $400,000 at retirement. That is the sacrifice they make. They don't spend today so they have more money tomorrow. Of course, getting used to making do with less doesn't come naturally. We may need to do what mountaineers do, acclimatize. That is, getting used to having less. But acclimatization implies more than just having less. What does it mean for our investment portfolios? Well, we'll answer that in our next clip after I tell you another little story about Ecuador. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of this 5-part series on financial mountain climbing. To learn more about us and to see important disclosures, please have a look at www.jackson.financial. And if you happen to be worried at this moment in time about the risk in your portfolio, there's a free portfolio analysis link there on the homepage. Best wishes for a successful climb, and more importantly, a successful descent. Take care.